The thunder was deafening when they wheeled her into Seattle Grace Emergency Room. Dr. Nathan Brooks had been working the night shift for 36 hours straight, his third double in 2 weeks. At 28, he was one of the youngest attending physicians in the ER, known for his steady hands and unshakable focus, but nothing could have prepared him for her. Female, mid-20s, MVA, motor vehicle accident. The paramedic shouted over the storm. Found her car wrapped around a tree on Highway 99. No ID, no passengers. BP dropping fast. Possible internal bleeding. Nathan's training kicked in immediately. Trauma Bay 2, let's move! The woman was covered in blood, her blonde hair matted against her pale face. But even through the chaos, even through the injuries, Nathan noticed something that made his breath catch. She was beautiful in a way that seemed almost ethereal, like she didn't quite belong in this harsh, fluorescent reality. Get me a CT scan, cross-match for 4 units of blood, and page surgery, Nathan barked orders, his hands already working to stabilize her. She's got a punctured lung and possible head trauma. For the next 4 hours, Nathan fought death itself for this stranger. He worked with a desperation he didn't quite understand, as if losing her would mean losing something he hadn't even known he needed. At 6:47 a.m., her vitals stabilized. She was alive. Unconscious, but alive. Nathan finally allowed himself to breathe. That's when it happened. As he was checking her pupils one last time before she was moved to ICU, her lips moved. The movement was so slight he almost missed it. He leaned closer, his ear inches from her mouth. "Please don't leave!" 3 words, barely a whisper, spoken by someone trapped between life and death. And in that moment, Dr. Nathan Brooks, the man who'd sworn to never let emotion interfere with medicine, felt his world shift on its axis. Jane Doe read the chart outside room 307. Nathan knew he should let it go. She was stable. The ICU team had taken over. He had other patients, other emergencies, but every spare moment, he found himself walking past her room, checking her chart, asking questions he had no medical reason to ask. Dr. Brooks, Nurse Jessica Martinez, caught him for the 3rd time that day. "She's not your patient anymore." "I know," Nathan said, not moving from the doorway. Jessica softened. In 5 years of working together, she'd never seen Nathan like this. No change. Still unconscious. No hits on the fingerprints, no missing persons reports. It's like she's a ghost. But she wasn't a ghost. She was real. And those 3 words haunted Nathan every moment. On day 4, the hospital social worker, Margaret Chen, approached him. "Dr. Brooks, I need to talk to you about the Jane Doe case." Nathan's stomach tightened. "What about her?" "We didn't have much, but we had books. My mother would save every penny to buy me books from the secondhand shop." "That's beautiful." "She died when I was 16. Pneumonia, actually." Maggie's voice caught. "Just like what nearly killed me. I promised her I'd make something of myself. So I became a librarian. Met my husband, Thomas, at the library. He came in looking for a book on fly, fishing, and left with my phone number. She laughed, the sound like wind chimes. We were married for 38 years. We talked for over an hour that first night. She told me about her daughter, Catherine, who died in childbirth at 32, along with the baby, about how the grief had nearly destroyed her, about her nephew James, who drifted away after too many losses. "People drift apart," she said, her voice hollow. "I don't blame him, but it doesn't make the loneliness any easier. Do you know what it's like to realize you could die tomorrow, and no one would come to your funeral?" I reached out and took her hand. "You're not alone anymore." "Not while I'm here." Maggie's eyes filled with tears. "You don't have to promise me anything. This isn't my job. My job ended an hour ago. This is me choosing to be here." The next day, I came back during lunch with sandwiches, and the day after that with crossword puzzles. It became a routine I looked forward to more than anything else. Maggie started anticipating my visits. Her eyes would light up when I walked in, and she'd have stories ready to share. "You know what's funny?" she said one afternoon. "I spent 45 years helping people find stories, but I forgot how to tell my own. I forgot that I mattered enough to be read." "You matter so much, Maggie." We talked about everything. her childhood in Boston, her first teaching job, the day Thomas proposed in the poetry section. "Tell me about Catherine," I said gently one day. Maggie's face crumpled, but then she started talking. She had Thomas's laugh, this big, booming laugh too loud for her tiny body. She loved animals, wanted to be a veterinarian. She was going to name the baby Grace, after my mother. Tears streamed down her face. There was a complication during delivery, an amniotic embolism. Catherine died within minutes. The baby never took a breath. Thomas and I were in the waiting room, so excited, and then a doctor came out with this terrible look. I held her hands while she cried, while decades of grief poured out. "Thomas never really recovered," she continued. 6 years later came the cancer diagnosis. I've been alone for 12 years now. 12 years of waking up alone, eating alone, being invisible. "I see you," I said fiercely. "I see you, Maggie. You're one of the strongest people I've ever met." By her 3rd week, physical therapy started. I was there the day she took her first steps with the walker. "Come on, Maggie," Marcus, the therapist, encouraged. "Just 15 more feet." "Neither do we," Detective Williams admitted. "But Ms. Doe, whoever you are, you were either running from something or involved in something before that accident. And until we figure out which, there are some legal complications." After the detective left, Nathan found Jane sitting on her hospital bed, trembling. "They think I'm a criminal," she said, her voice hollow. "Maybe I am. Maybe I'm someone terrible and I just don't remember." Nathan sat beside her. Another boundary crossed. "Do you feel like someone terrible?" "I don't feel like anything. I'm just empty." "You're not empty," Nathan said fiercely. "You apologized to the janitor yesterday for making extra work. You thanked the nurse who changed your IV even though she hurt you. You cried when you heard there was an earthquake in Turkey on the news. Whatever you were before, you're a good person now." Jane looked at him with those devastating eyes. "Why do you care so much, Dr. Brooks?" "Because from the moment you whispered those 3 words, I haven't been able to think of anything else," Nathan thought. "Because everyone deserves someone to care," is what he said aloud. 2 weeks post-accident, the pressure mounted from all sides. The hospital administration wanted her discharged. The police wanted answers she couldn't provide. Social Services was preparing to place her in a supervised facility, and Nathan was watching the woman he'd come to care for deeply spiraling into despair. Then came the nightmare. Nathan was finishing his shift when he heard screaming from Jane's room. He ran, finding her thrashing in her bed, still asleep but trapped in some terror her conscious mind couldn't access. "No, please, no! I'll do anything, just don't—" Her words dissolved into sobs. "Jane!" Nathan gently shook her shoulders. "Jane, wake up!" Her eyes flew open, wild and unseeing. Then they focused on him, and she launched herself into his arms, clinging to him like a drowning person to a life raft. "He was there," she sobbed into his chest. "In my dream, a man." His face was blurry, but I was so afraid. "Nathan, I was so afraid." Nathan held her, his professional detachment completely shattered. "You're safe. I've got you. Don't leave," she whispered. The same 3 words from that first night. "Please, Nathan, don't leave me alone." "I won't," he promised, knowing he meant it in ways that went far beyond professional duty. "I'm right here." She fell asleep in his arms. Nathan stayed the entire night, holding her, watching over her, committing professional suicide with every passing hour. Nurse Jessica found them at dawn. Instead of judgment, she simply brought Nathan a coffee and quietly closed the door behind her. "Her 2 weeks are up tomorrow," Jessica said gently. "Administration is insisting she be transferred." "No." The word came out harder than Nathan intended. "Nathan." I said, "No, Jess." He looked at his friend with desperate eyes. "I can't let her go to some facility where she's just a case number, where no one gives a damn if she ever remembers who she is." "Then what are you going to do?" Nathan looked at the sleeping woman in his arms, this beautiful mystery who'd completely derailed his carefully controlled life. "Something crazy," he finally said. The next morning, Nathan walked into the hospital administrator's office with a proposal that could cost him his career. I want to take medical responsibility for Jane Doe, he said. As her physician of record, I'm recommending continued outpatient observation. I'll supervise her recovery personally. Administrator Richard Walsh stared at him. Dr. Brooks, you can't be serious. The liability alone. I'm completely serious. She needs stability, familiarity. Constantly moving her to different facilities will only traumatize her further. As her doctor, I'm saying this is the best course of treatment. And where exactly will this outpatient observation take place? Nathan took a breath. My home. I have a spare room. I'll ensure she attends all follow-up appointments, therapy sessions, and check-ins with social services. The silence was deafening. You want to take an unidentified woman with possible criminal connections into your home? Walsh's voice was incredulous. I don't believe she's a criminal. And yes, that's exactly what I'm proposing. The medical board will have questions. Then I'll answer them. Walsh studied him for a long moment. You're putting everything on the line for a stranger. She's not a stranger anymore, Nathan said quietly. 24 hours and mountains of paperwork later, Nathan was helping Jane pack the few belongings the hospital had provided. Are you sure about this? She asked for the 100th time. Nathan, you barely know me. I barely know me. I know enough, Nathan said, meeting her eyes. I know you're brave. I know you're kind. I know that when you smile, which isn't often enough, it feels like the sun coming out. Jane's eyes filled with tears. I could be anyone. I could remember tomorrow that I have a husband, a family. Then we'll deal with it tomorrow. But today, I'm not letting you face this alone. As they walked out of the hospital together, Jane stopped at the entrance. Nathan. Yeah? Those 3 words I said that first night. When I asked you not to leave. She paused, searching for words. Somehow, even unconscious, I think I knew. Knew you were safe. Knew you'd protect me. Nathan gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, the gesture intimate and tender. I will protect you, whatever it takes. The first month was awkward. They were strangers learning to coexist, dancing around the undeniable, chemistry that sparked every time. They were in the same room. Jane, they'd started calling her Lily, a name she'd chosen because it felt like starting fresh, threw herself into therapy and trying to build an identity from nothing. Nathan watched her bloom. She discovered she loved cooking but hated gardening, that she could solve complex puzzles but couldn't carry a tune, that she woke up from nightmares 3 times a week, always reaching for him in the dark. And slowly, inevitably, they fell in love. It started with accidental touches, hands brushing while washing dishes, sitting too close during movie nights, the way Lily's face lit up when Nathan came home from the hospital. Then came the evening everything changed. They were cooking dinner together. Lily's idea. She said it made her feel normal when she suddenly froze, a knife in her hand. Wrong. I just remembered something. Her voice was shaking. Not much, just a feeling of being afraid, of running. Nathan gently took the knife from her trembling hands. Do you want to talk about it? There was a man. I can't see his face, but I remember his voice. Angry, threatening. Tears streamed down her face. Nathan, what if I was running from something terrible? What if that's why no one came looking for me? Nathan pulled her into his arms. Then you got away. You survived. And whatever you were running from, it can't touch you now. How do you know? Because I won't let it, Nathan said fiercely. Whatever or whoever scared you, they'll have to go through me first. Lily pulled back slightly, looking up at him. Why? Why are you doing all this? Do you really not know? The air between them crackled with tension. Nathan, he cupped her face in his hands. Because from the moment I heard you whisper, "Don't leave me," I was yours. Because you've become the most important part of my day. Because when I imagined you in some facility without anyone who cared, his voice broke. I couldn't do it, Lily. I just couldn't. I'm falling in love with you, Lily whispered. I don't know if I loved someone before. I don't know if I'm even free to love you, but I am. Nathan kissed her then, soft and sweet and full of promise. Then that's enough. For now, that's enough. 3 months of peace. 3 months of building something beautiful from the wreckage of tragedy. Then Detective Williams showed up at their door. "Ms. Doe, Lily," the detective said, her expression grave. "We've finally identified you, and there's a lot we need to talk about." Lily gripped Nathan's hand so tightly it hurt. Her real name was Olivia Sinclair. She was 27 years old, and she'd been reported missing by her husband, Marcus Sinclair, 4 months ago. Husband. The word hit Nathan like a physical blow. "No," Olivia whispered. "No, that's not possible." Detective Williams pulled out a photo. A wedding picture. Olivia in a white dress, smiling next to a handsome man with cold eyes. "Do you recognize him?" Olivia stared at the photo, her face draining of color. "His eyes," she whispered. "I remember his eyes, in my nightmares. It's always those eyes." "Olivia, I need you to listen carefully," Detective Williams said gently. "We've been investigating Marcus Sinclair. 3 months ago, your friend Rachel reported you missing. She said you'd called her, terrified, saying Marcus had threatened you, that you were planning to leave him. 2 days later, you vanished. The pieces fell into place with horrible clarity. Marcus reported you missing a week after Rachel did, claiming you'd walked out without explanation. But we've been digging. You weren't in a random accident, Olivia. Your car's brake lines had been cut. Someone tried to kill you." Nathan felt sick. "Marcus, we can't prove it yet. But yes, we believe Marcus attempted to murder you. The rental car, the false plates, we think you were trying to run, to hide. You might have done those things to throw him off your trail." Olivia was shaking so hard she could barely speak. I'm married to someone who tried to kill me. According to your friend Rachel, Marcus was controlling, abusive. You'd tried to leave before, but he'd always found you. This time you didn't tell anyone where you were going. Where is he now?" Nathan demanded. "Seattle. He never left. He's been here this whole time, supposedly searching for his missing wife. But Olivia, he can't know you're alive. Not yet. Not until we have enough evidence to arrest him." The next week was hell. Olivia, she couldn't think of herself as Lily anymore, remembered more each day. The controlling behavior, the escalating violence. The night she'd finally decided that staying would mean dying. "I withdrew all the cash I could," she told Nathan and Detective Williams. "Used fake names to rent a car in Vancouver. I was going to drive to Alaska, start over where he'd never think to look. He's been trolling through your social media, reaching out to old friends," Detective Williams said. "He's desperate to find you, which means we need to be very, very careful." Nathan wanted to wrap Olivia in his arms and never let go. But more than that, he wanted to end this threat permanently. "What do we do?" he asked. Detective Williams looked between them. "We need evidence. A confession, ideally. Which means..." She paused. "Olivia, we need you to confront him. Wearing a wire." "Absolutely not," Nathan said immediately. "You want to put her in a room with someone who tried to kill her? It's the only way to get a confession that will hold up in court." "I'll do it," Olivia said quietly. "No, Nathan, I have to." Her voice was stronger now, filled with a determination he hadn't heard before. "I can't live in fear forever. I can't keep looking over my shoulder, wondering if he'll find me. This ends now." The meeting was set up at a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown, wired with undercover cops and recording devices. Olivia wore a wire under her sweater. Nathan sat 3 tables away, close enough to intervene but far enough not to spook Marcus. When Marcus Sinclair walked in, Nathan understood the nightmares. The man moved with predatory grace, his eyes scanning the room before landing on Olivia. His face cycled through shock, relief, then something darker. "Olivia," he breathed, approaching her table. "Oh my God, Olivia. I've been searching everywhere. Where have you been?" Nathan watched Olivia's hands tremble, but her voice stayed steady. "You know where I've been, Marcus." "I don't understand. You disappeared." "I've been worried sick." "Worried? Is that what we're calling it?" Olivia's voice hardened. "I remember, Marcus. Not everything, but enough." Marcus's expression changed, the mask slipping. "What exactly do you remember?" "I remember being afraid every single day, I remember the bruises I had to hide. I remember the night you told me that if I ever tried to leave, you'd make sure I never made it out alive. You're confused. The accident. You hit your head. Let me take you home, we'll get you help. You cut my brake lines. Olivia's voice was shaking now, but she pushed on. You tried to kill me, Marcus. And when I survived, you've been hunting for me ever since. Marcus leaned forward, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. You can't prove anything, and even if you could, who's going to believe you? You disappeared without a trace. You used false IDs. You stole a car. You look like the criminal here, Olivia. Maybe, Olivia said, but you just confessed. Marcus's eyes widened as he realized his mistake. He lunged across the table and found himself slammed into the ground by Detective Williams and 3 uniformed officers. Marcus Sinclair, you're under arrest for attempted murder. Nathan was at Olivia's side in seconds, pulling her away from the chaos, holding her as she shook with relief and terror and something that felt like freedom. It's over, he whispered into her hair. It's finally over. The small church was filled with soft morning light and the scent of lilies, Olivia's choice, a reclaiming of the name she'd chosen for herself during her rebirth. You're sure about this? Nathan's best friend, Jake, asked as they stood in the groom's room. I mean, the woman has more baggage than an airport carousel. Nathan laughed. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. In the bride's room, Detective Williams, now a friend, was helping Olivia with her veil. I never thought I'd get a second chance at this, Olivia said, touching the simple white dress. A real marriage with someone who loves me. Nathan Brooks is one of the good ones, Detective Williams said. Don't let him go. Never, Olivia promised. The ceremony was simple. Olivia walked down the aisle alone, a deliberate choice, a symbol of her own agency, her own strength. When she reached Nathan, he was crying. You're supposed to wait until the vows, she whispered, laughing. I've been waiting to make you mine since the moment you opened. Your eyes in that hospital room, Nathan whispered back. The officiant began, but Nathan barely heard the words. All he could see was this incredible woman who'd survived hell, lost herself, and found herself again, found them again. When it came time for vows, Olivia spoke first. 8 months ago, I woke up not knowing who I was. I was terrified, alone, broken. And you took a stranger's hand and said, I won't leave. You broke rules. Risked your career, put your life on hold for someone who couldn't even tell you her real name. Her voice broke. You taught me that love isn't about knowing someone's past. It's about building a future together. Nathan Brooks, you are my future. You are my home. You are the reason I fought to stay alive that night. I love you. There wasn't a dry eye in the church. Nathan took a shaky breath. Olivia, when you whispered, don't leave me that first night, you changed my entire world. I'd spent years keeping everyone at arm's length, convinced that emotions had no place in medicine. Then you came along and proved that sometimes the best medicine is simply caring, simply being there, simply refusing to give up. He squeezed her hands. I promised to always be there, to never let you face the darkness alone, to build the life with you that you deserved all along. I love you as Lily, as Olivia, as whoever you want to be. I love you. I now pronounce you husband and wife. The kiss was met with applause and cheers and more than a few sobs. At the reception, Nurse Jessica gave a toast. I've worked with Nathan Brooks for 6 years. I've seen him save countless lives. But I've never seen him truly live until he met Olivia. Sometimes the people we save end up saving us right back. As the evening wound down, Nathan pulled Olivia onto the dance floor for one last dance. Any regrets? He asked, swaying with her under the lights. Just one, Olivia said, and Nathan's heart clenched. I regret that I can't remember every single moment of falling in love with you, but everything from here on out, I'm remembering all of it. Nathan kissed her forehead. We'll make new memories. Better ones. Starting now. Starting now, Olivia agreed. As they danced, Olivia thought about the girl who'd fled into the night, terrified and alone. The girl who'd woken up not knowing her own name. The girl who'd found love in the last place she expected. And she smiled. Because sometimes the worst moments of our lives lead us exactly where we needed to be all along. Sometimes 3 desperate words whispered in the darkness are enough to change everything. Sometimes love is the miracle that saves us when we've lost ourselves. And sometimes the best medicine a doctor can prescribe is simply refusing to let someone face the darkness alone. Nathan had broken every rule for her, and she'd found herself by losing everything. It was messy and imperfect and absolutely beautiful, just like love was supposed to be.